Drew Petzing, that is the Lions' new offensive coordinator. I have mixed emotions about this. I totally see the fit for the Lions. They want to go attack the rushing game. They want to go attack their offensive line this offseason. Well, this person theoretically does that for you. Top 10 rushing attack his first 2 seasons out in Arizona. He was number 2 in terms of yards per rush, yards per attempt, each of those first 2 seasons. This year they had to completely abandon the run because he had James Conner and Trey Benson. I think their third string ended up getting hurt too, Amari Cotto. Is that how you say his name? Fantasy people know who I'm talking about.
DeMercado, yes.
DeMercado, that's right. All these guys end up getting hurt. So they abandoned the run, and Jacoby Brissett's all of a sudden breaking records for completions in a game and finished with the second most yards in the NFL from the time he stepped in until the end of the season. He did some things well out in Arizona. The problem is the Arizona fans, which I personally like to consider. There's going to be some experts out there that tell you otherwise, but I think it's fine to kind of look at what the Arizona fans and Arizona writers said about him. They don't like this guy. They don't think he plays very well once the script is gone, after the first drive of the game, after the first drive out of halftime. They think the star players got phased out. They hate the 4th down calls. He finished in the bottom 5 of 4th down conversion percentage each of his 3 seasons calling plays for Arizona. But I did tell you guys, the number one non-negotiable was that whoever they hired at OC had to call plays. This guy has experience doing that. And I think all of us had the same exact reaction when we got the notification that he was hired. Who the hell is this? Arizona's OC? Arizona stunk last year. What? Who the hell is this? That was all of our reactions. And that's totally fine to feel underwhelmed by that move and to feel like there's better candidates available. But if the goal is to get back to the Super Bowl, I think the express route in that happening is fixing your offensive line and your rushing attack. Because against the good rushing attacks, this offensive line wasn't very good. All right, this team finished 25th in terms of EPA per rush. Both the running backs were under 50% in terms of success rate. That's not very good. They did take a step back this year. I think that's partially due to the offensive line being worse and partially due to the lack of creativity in the run game. They found someone who can potentially help in the latter. They still have to upgrade the offensive line. You can like him, you can hate him, feel however way you want to about Drew Petzing. The reality is they have to continue to help the offensive line because he is going to be set up to fail if they don't fix that this offseason, whether that's through the draft, through free agency. Ideally, it's through both. In order for him to succeed and for us to fairly judge him, they have to continue to add to that. Drew Petzing's a fine hire. I like the fit. He's done some good things. Just because we didn't know him doesn't mean it's a terrible hire. Here's the thing, though. It doesn't solve any problems. It's not like we're sitting here telling you it's a slam dunk hire, some home run. You still have to do those things this offseason. Have a slam dunk draft pick in the first round, offensive tackle. Bring in the best center that's available in free agency. McGovern or Linderbaum. Bring one of those guys in. Figure out the money. Clear up some cap space with the Jared Goff contract, with the Sewell contract, with the Amon-Ra contract. You still have to continue on this offseason. It's not like problems have been solved. Because all those doubts that we had going into the last couple games of the season, all the stuff that me personally keeps me up at night about never being able to get that offensive line back up to standard, all that stuff's still true. And Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have whiffed before on hiring their offensive coordinator, not once but twice. Do not forget about Anthony Lynn. So, of the 3 guys that they've had be their offensive play caller, their offensive coordinator, 2 of the 3 have been total whiffs. Is this person going to be a whiff, Drew Petzing? Time will tell. I don't think we can judge him right away. But you do have to wonder if Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes overlooked other candidates that were maybe just more talented play callers for the sake of fit, for the sake of culture. Are their own egos getting in the way? Potentially. I think the bottom line is this. Whether you're trusting the Arizona fans that hate him, whether you're trusting the experts that think he does some really good stuff, whether you want to form your own opinion about him, you do you. What matters is they got to continue to build on this offensive line because if they don't, this guy's going to fail. Point blank, period. That is my story.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't also change like whether or not you feel about him, good or bad. He's still the offensive coordinator. And if you're a Lions fan, don't you want him to be good? You know, like that at the end of the day, like he's the OC no matter how you feel about him. It was the same way about when they got John Morton. Oh, I thought they should have went and got an experienced guy that was coming from somewhere else instead of doing an in-house hire.
Cool. Let's get back to reality.
Exactly. You thought they should have done something else? Well, they're not going to. So now you kind of have to move forward. And like you said, this now comes back to a let Brad Holmes cook. You know, that's what this is. Dan Campbell, sure, yeah, he's the coach and he's going to be the guy that's working hand in hand with Drew Petzing. Of course, it doesn't matter if Brad Holmes doesn't bring in the right pieces for both of them.
I think it's in unison, though. I think these hires are 50-50 Holmes and Campbell, to be honest.
No, I do, but I'm saying from this point forward, like this is all Brad Holmes' show.
Oh, you mean from an improvement standpoint? Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think the hires for both of them, totally. I think they of course probably did this hand in hand.
And they, to be honest, they have not shown the ability to find an exterior candidate yet for bringing in offensive coordinators. They had Aaron Glenn. They brought in an in-house guy in Kelvin Shepard. They brought in Anthony Lynn, total disaster. Ben Johnson fell into their lap. Then they completely whipped on John Moran, who was somewhat of a person that they tried to just bring back the Ben Johnson scheme because he was here in 23. And now they're, in a way, doing the same thing by hiring Ben Johnson's best friend, which is weird, and I can't really see past that. And I can't see past the Arizona fans that despise this guy.
That's the
and
part
think he should be
man.
in jail.
Ugh.
But if Brad Holmes does his job well this offseason and increases the offensive line and improves it, then I feel like Drew Petzing could be in a... All that stuff we were saying about Mike McDaniel, that this is the best position to walk into, it's still true for Drew Petzing. It's not like any of that has changed.
That's a great point.
We just have to make sure that he's set up to succeed just as much, if not more, than we would have with a different offensive coordinator. You got to go set this guy to succeed, and you do that by attacking the offensive line in the draft and free agency. Attacking. Not letting them come to you, not waiting to see what's there for you at 17. Find your guys and go get them.
I love that. And that the best point I think that you made all day is that it still is the stuff we were talking about with Mike McDaniel, it still exists. Just because it's a different guy and we think, oh, well, this Lions OC job was such a home run job for anybody to pick up. Why did they go with this guy? It doesn't change the fact that they still have all these great weapons. And like you said, it just comes down to what is Brad Holmes going to do. And a lot of people don't like the let Brad Holmes cook theory. It worked the first couple of seasons, and I'm not saying it hasn't worked the last season or so, but a lot of people have gone away from that theory. Well, it's going to happen nonetheless. You know, what is Brad Holmes going to do to upgrade this offensive line and to put Petzing in a position to succeed? That's what we're excited for. Do you put any weight into the fact that when Arizona was healthy this season, which was not for very long, as far as Kyler Murray and James Conner both being healthy, they were 2-1, and the one game they lost was a 1-point loss to a 49ers team that went to the divisional round.
Yeah, but their two wins were what? Carolina and...
Carolina, the playoff team?
And New Orleans,
Carolina, the team that hosted a playoff game? That one?
How awesome is it that
New
I
Orleans,
just pulled that off the top of my head, though? I knew who they played the Arizona Cardinals first two seasons.
And then New Orleans, the team that beat that Carolina playoff team twice?
Oh, my God.
Seems
Arizona
like they
was on fire.
Yeah, it seems like
Kyler
they had a pretty
got
tough
hurt.
schedule, man.
Yeah, they you know, if the Lions fans want to make the excuses about the injuries, and I'm going to use that word carefully. I'm going to take that word back. It's if the Lions fans want to bring up injuries, that's fine. Arizona dealt with it way worse than the Lions did this year. They dealt with it worse than any other team.
And like the funniest part about, and this isn't come down to the coordinator, you wouldn't think so. Arizona lost 5 games in a row after starting 2-0. They lost those games by combined 13 points.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
I did see some stuff though about the last 3 years. I don't have the number in front of me. Drew Petzing's record or the Cardinals' record in one-score games was very bad.
I mean,
and maybe that's more of a Gannon thing.
This season, it was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, they lost pretty much every single one-score game, right?
Yeah, the first 2 games of the year were one-score wins, and then after that, they went 5 wins in a row, losing by 1.
So I want to credit him for what happened to that Arizona offense with Jacoby Brissett, but it's hard to at the same time because they just simply weren't winning games. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they were putting up numbers and making games close, and maybe a lot of them were garbage time numbers, but I mean, Jacoby Brissett broke the NFL record for most completions in a game. That's crazy to me. It shouldn't be
right.
You know,
I think a little bit of like they're losing the whole game. They just don't have any healthy running backs. They're legit just passing every time.
He still put up numbers.
Yeah, totally. Brissett looked good. Like I think Brissett has earned the you draft a quarterback, but you want Brissett to start the first 5 weeks. He's that guy next year.
And Trey McBride solidified himself as the best tight end in the NFL this year.
Totally.
126 receptions. Good thing for Sam Laporta, as long as he's healthy. Still questions about his back, but if he comes back healthy, like, he's probably the biggest winner from all of this. Again, I see the fit that the Lions wanted to do with Drew Petzing. I totally understand their vision. The vision board's right there. It's fix the run game. Priority number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you checked off what's first in terms of the timeline this offseason. Hire an offensive coordinator that specializes in the run. You can't stop now. If you're going to lean into it, lean all the way into it. Fall into it, for that matter. Draft an offensive tackle at 17. If I'm in charge, who knows what would happen? I would be drafting a second offensive lineman in the second round.
They should hire Ben Bosscher as the OC.
Right. As the OC, no. Absolutely not. I'd sit on the sidelines with Dan Campbell and tell him when to call timeouts. I feel like there's a lot of people that are qualified to do that.
A lot of people could do that. Probably most people watching this show.
And I would be finding a center, hopefully, in free agency. Or a left guard, and then you let that person compete with Christian Mahogany to see who wins that job. I don't think they should just let Christian Mahogany walk in without any competition in a game.
That's fair. And the Frazier's still there, obviously. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
You don't need to find competition for him. I mean, like, yes, but...
Like, he is the competition is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right.
That would be my offseason plan. Again, if I'm the Lions, I'm okay with this hire as long as you continue to lean into the mentality of, by all means necessary, fix the offensive line.
Yeah. My only gripe is that he just doesn't really fit the hot, young, new guy, because he certainly is not hot.
Well, that brings us to one of our text messages, 989-837-6125. Says, is the Lions OC hire somewhat based on the fact that if he's good, he maybe won't leave or won't be sought after? Well, if he's good, I think he's going to be sought after no matter what. That's the thing. But to this texter's point, do they not go with McDaniel or Zach Robinson or somebody else with the idea, hey, if this guy has any success in year one, we're going to have to do this whole thing again next offseason? Drew Petzing, it seems like, more so than these other candidates would have maybe to build up his resume for 2 years. Because this is something that Campbell noted at the end of his season press conference, is if we hire, like, I got to weigh whether or not I'm calling plays next year, because if we hand the keys over to someone else, we're just going to be dealing with this over and over again. I don't think Campbell should be calling plays no matter what. I think Petzing has to be the one to call plays.
He will be.
Maybe they did go with this person thinking a little bit more 2-year plan, knowing that he probably won't get poached, or it's more unlikely that he gets poached if they bring in a guy like that. I think it's a bad mentality to have if that's the sole reason,
right.
But I doubt it's the sole reason that they went with this hire. You know?
RP says, does Ben Johnson have any other friends that we can hire for other openings?
That's the weirdest part to me, man. I can't. It's just, it gives me a weird feeling in my gut that they hired Ben Johnson's best buddy. It's like they can't let it go.